Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another exciting and inspiring episode of On Location with Zara Durrani. I'm so excited to bring some amazing local artists from Vancouver to have them join me here on my pink couch and dig deep. Joining me today is someone who is an award-winning Canadian actor. You may have seen him on many shows, including Van Helsing, Continuum, that show I binge watched. I interviewed one of the other stars of Continuum, Omari Newton.
Oh.
And he has a new show launching this evening on CBC and CBC Gem at 9 p.m. Actually, it's already live on CBC Gem right now. I'm talking about the show Allegiance and Mr. Stephen Lobo.
Zara Durrani.
Thank you for making time for us.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, pleasure to be here on your pink couch.
On my pink couch. And this is not planned that we were to film on this day, the day your show is launching.
Isn't that great?
This is serendipity. It was meant to happen like this.
The stars aligned.
Yeah.
So on location with Zara Durrani.
That is correct. On location in my apartment. we do film on location. You know, we do go to some gems in Vancouver, some hidden spaces. But sometimes when we have to, like, we can't find something, we're like, we're gonna film here, and we get great natural light.
It's great. It's great. I love your place. The view is beautiful. Just throwing it out there on the pink couch with Zara Durrani. Pink couch talks.
Oh, pink couch talks. I like that.
Let's talk pink.
I like that. Pink. I know. Doesn't Jada have like red table talks?
Red table, right?
Yeah.
Right. Red couch talks.
Right. Yes.
Pink couch talks.
And before I used to call it the red one. That's still there because I like to have gatherings and we play games and such.
Okay.
So I was like, but my two fur babies occupy that couch at the moment.
Oh, nice.
So excited to have you here. I've followed your career over the years, watched you in many shows, interviewed you on the red carpet, and just like witnessed your journey. And it was on my mind for quite some time. And when I saw that you were in Allegiance, I'm like, I need to get Stephen here. I need to talk about him, his journey, his career. But like with everyone, I like to backtrack and start from the beginning. Did you always know you were going to be an actor, or did you just fall into it?
I absolutely did not know I was going to be an actor, and even when I started pursuing acting, I was like, I can't do it. But the reason I continued with it is because it was the only thing I was finding that really charged me and lit me up and got me going and engaged and curious and just firing on all cylinders like I had never before. But I still, in my wildest dreams, didn't think like I could be one of those people inside of the TV or on the stage or on the big screen. So it took a while.
Your voice, you have like a nice deep
voice.
Yeah. Do you read, like, do you do a lot of voice work?
I have done a lot of voice work. Voice work, and I find like I'm aware, like as an actor. Yeah, I went to theater school,
in London.
In London, yeah. Oh, done your research on me.
Yeah,
Eh?
just a little bit. Whatever I could
Investigative
find.
reporting.
Yeah. But you know, I've also been a fan of your work and your career, and also.
The first time I remember meeting you, I was telling Julian, I remember seeing you on the set of Arctic Air. Was that?
Oh snap! Yeah.
Yeah.
CBC used to invite me to.
That's right. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, that was the friend. You looked like this.
Yes. Yeah, 10 years ago, Adam Beach.
Yeah.
And you. Oh.
Yeah.
Man. Wow.
And I was playing the
pilot.
The rookie.
And who had an accent.
Yeah. Yeah. That's right.
And now look at you. You know, I remember seeing you in Continuum, and it's just so amazing.
Yeah. Those shows were actually going concurrently at the same time. So.
No way.
Yeah, I would shoot. Those were the gravy train years, as I like to say. I was shooting one in the winter, and I would shoot the other one in the spring.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really nice. It was really nice.
That must have felt like I want to talk about the feeling of that. Like, I was speaking to the star of your show, your daughter, Supinder, earlier. I love to hear like how that feels like in your body, and like what is your day to day when you're doing work like that when you're working on Arctic Air and then you're working on Continuum. And Continuum had like some major fan base. I couldn't believe that show didn't go on for like forever. It was one of those shows I binge watched. I don't watch many shows that are filmed in Vancouver. I didn't say that out loud, but I feel that, and Allegiance, in my opinion, is in that category. The story, it just hooks you in.
Yeah, it was. That was Continuum was that was a really special show for me, and I think it changed a lot for me in my career. It was something that I think reached an international audience. You know, that took me to conventions in the UK, and it was exciting to be something that reached so far. But you know, and validating for us based here to know that, you know, we can create stories that are based in Vancouver with Canadian cast and crew, 100% across the board, except for the lead on Continuum. She was American, but other than that, and it still have wings like that, you know. And so that's so exciting, because I'm all about. I've only been based here in my career. I had a little bit of time in England before I moved here, and then I've been based here. And I've never done the LA thing or anything like that. So I'm all about, you know, being proud of who we are and showing that we can, you know, keep up with the best of them. You know, which I thought was such a great thing about last night, which I'm sure we'll get to.
Yeah.
But to show, like, it was great that Lark, who I feel so fondly of, that they showcased, that they put that event on, and to celebrate it, what we've done.
It was great to see you on the big screen. Supindra mentioned this as well. The energy you brought to your character, you know, Minister of
Public Safety, but I don't know what they might have changed, whatever the title is. But,
whatever.
Yeah.
But it's you, but it's not you. You know,
Right.
Your aura, your whole vibe when you are passing the medal to her, and you know, all those moments. The moment where, giving away too many spoilers here.
I think it's in the trailer, so I
it
think
is?
we could.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. But also when you're wearing the orange outfit, I won't get into that. But
wait, have you seen 2 episodes?
no, only the first one. But
Right, gotcha.
but there is a moment. I was paying attention, when you call your daughter, like towards the end, and you know, you're there by the phone, and you just see your back and how that is affecting you. You know, that you're there and you're calling her, and it's her first day on the job, and you leave her a voice message, which she listens to twice.
Yeah, because I'm not in it a ton, but it is a very important part, and of course, like any character, there's similarities and differences to me. So I was lucky that I had writers and the showrunners, Mark and Stephanie, were very available to me for questions, because when I got to set, that wasn't the time. That was like game day. Let's go. So I wanted to make sure that I asked a lot of questions ahead of time to make sure, you know, was really clear about. And of course, you get to set and everything can change, and I'm you know, definitely game for that. But to get as specific I could about, you know, what these scenes were about and what the intention was and what the pocket was they were looking for, so I could just sort of go in and execute, because there's not much time to get who this guy is across to the audience. Yeah.
And the moment with both of your kids is so special, and it's very. I love the difference between, I forget the son's name, versus Sabrina, and he's just in the back. He's like, "Are you really gonna do this?" And I love Sabrina's role of, you know, she's like the mediator. She's just like, "Hey, chill out." But very real moments, and you know, CBC and Lark, and of course the whole cast and crew, and Anar, everyone involved has done such a stupendous job. What does it feel like for you to get involved in a show like this?
Oh, I mean, it's a blessing. It's a blessing to. First of all, it's a blessing to work. And whenever I get a job, I'm like, what? They want me? So it's a privilege, right, to do this, and then to be involved in this show, which is different on so many levels. I mean, you mentioned my relationship with my daughter versus my son on the show, and just even that's a little different. Like it's usually it's the son who's the golden child, and it's
especially in South Asian families.
Right. Yeah. So, and in this, it's different. She's the one who can do no wrong in her father's eyes, and he's the one who disappoints me. So that's different because we're used to seeing stories usually of, if they're South Asian families and South Asian stories, they're usually it's like the immigrant story, and this I think gets beyond that, and it talks about who we are as Canadians, and while still being South Asian and having maybe a lot of society look at us like we are other. It's not what we feel. Like my experience growing up is I feel Canadian. I was born in Toronto and I feel very Canadian. But I mean, I'm sure. I can sometimes experience that. People don't know how to read me at first, and So I think that's one of the things that it tackles, along with many others. Yeah.
And the fact that it's created by Anar Ali, a South Asian creator. The number one on the show is a South Asian female lead.
Incredible.
And of course, it's a story that it's not just for the South Asian community, it's for everyone. Supinder got emotional. I got emotional twice, because it just means a lot to see the fact that they are not just immigrant stories, not just where you're doing an accent. And not that there's anything wrong with that. My mom had an accent, my aunties, like everyone. I still have a subtle accent. There's nothing wrong with that. But just to see that representation, to see what you're saying, more richer stories. So what was, I would love to hear about your prep. For example, when you get this, I don't know if it was offered to you or when you get this role, when you're prepping for this, what is your prep like?
Yeah, well, every ride is different. With this, I guess prep in a way started when I started auditioning back in, I don't know, April or something like that. Sent in a tape. I originally wasn't. I remember calling Murray and my agent telling him that maybe we shouldn't send this in because I didn't feel like it fit me. I felt very young and I didn't know if it was the right role for me. And he's like, oh, we'll send it in. And there's no harm. This is a good start. And and then they wanted a callback. And so I learned as I got to know the material as I went. So I suppose that was a form of prep. And it was interesting because I think season 1 and crafting the show, I think they were still figuring out who this guy was as, in those months coming up, leading up to shooting. So things changed and ebbed and flowed. But that's really kind of when I got familiar with the world that they were creating. And then, so there was, I think, 1, 2, 3, 4. It was a long process of auditioning. And then and then I got the part. 4, yeah.
Did they also want to do like chemistry?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I did. Sent in the tape, and there was a Zoom callback with casting, and then I was in the room with another choice, a wonderful actress, and another choice for Sabrina here, and then another month later after that, I had another chemistry test with Supinder. Yeah, which was great. And got the part, celebrated, and then like I said, it was really about getting really specific about who this guy was, so I could just show up and go. With in particular with this project, again, because it's season 1 and things are launching, the questions only served me so much, and then it got to a point where it was like, okay, it wasn't like I could build it wasn't like I could build this character because they were still figuring out his backstory. So it was really about taking each scene and discovering who he was in the scenes, in the relationship with my daughter, which was mostly with my daughter or whoever I was. So it was a really kind of like, be as prepared as I can for anything, but take it as it comes. For this, it's always different.
I auditioned for Parveen.
For Parveen?
Yes, and it's sort of interesting. They keep bringing me in for like the late 40s and early 50s these days, and with my agent. Like, I really love, I did several scenes, and then Anar told me that you were one of her, like she had kind of internally like pinned me, like when they had the little gathering in December. So that was nice to hear, because I thought, but I see that Supinder, and there's no way I'm going to be playing her auntie.
Right.
I know I'm going to be 42 soon, but it's like, but I'm so excited to see that on television. They sent me the episode 2 to watch as well. And I'm like, I want to watch all of it together in one sitting, because I'm definitely one of those people.
You like to binge.
I am, it's just sitting here. That's why we got the sectional.
Where's your TV? Do you have a screen? What do you do?
You see?
Oh, there it is.
Because we're going to have artwork over here, and I just watch it on my MacBook.
Gotcha.
I'm just going to give the television away, because I would rather have art. I have photos of me back here.
Get a projector. You can project on the wall.
Yeah,
there.
that's a good idea.
Oh.
I guess only at nighttime, like you could project.
Oh, right.
Yeah,
Unless
you
get.
Yeah, that's a great
blackouts,
idea.
yes.
Yeah. I like that idea. Yeah.
Something to think about.
Yeah. I brought him in for some home design tips today. But I want to go back to those formative years of like making the decision that you're gonna, because we didn't grow up seeing people like us represented in film and television. For even ads, there weren't people like you and I who we got to see growing up. What was that process like for you? Like, when you made the decision, how did your family take it? Because I feel in our culture, families, it's always a thing. I know in my family, I was a black sheep for a long time. It took them like years until I finally had a little show for them to be like, hey, good job. But it takes them time to acknowledge that, okay, this is the journey you're on, high five, kudos. But I feel that's also part of the internal struggle of, am I going to become an artist and devote myself to this other calling? Yeah,
definitely all those things. There's the internalized struggle, and then yes, with my parents, with my mom in particular, when I made the decision to go to theater school, I mean, I actually needed to take some space from her for a number of months, because it was she, out of love and wanting to protect me, she was trying to do everything she could to stop me, from pursuing this. So it meant finding it later in life. I mean, I started theater school when I was 27. I finished when I was 30. So I started working as a professional actor when I was 30 years old, which is like a little bit later than most. And I remember conversations with my agent early on. I was like, what are you gonna do with me? Like, and I was like, there's no one out there. He was asking me like, who do you see you? Who do you like wanna like what are some role models out there? And I had the usual names, but none of those roles that I could really play. I remember saying, I don't know, maybe like Jeff Goldblum has a kind of a look like me, but it was like, that was a reach. He's not the same type of actor as me. So yeah, all that stuff just built in like it just fed this imposter syndrome of like, who do you think? I remember, those first acting classes, I do remember going, they're Anna Migliorisi, a wonderful acting teacher at U of T. She would ask me about what my experience was, and I was like, I didn't really even have the understanding of what was going on because I was a fan of film, and I thought I'd want to do it, but there was something so internalized. I was like, I don't feel like I don't taking up space. I was like, I don't feel like deserve. Like, why should people be? What's so special about me that I'm standing here right now? And there was no real kind of, so that was part of it, and it's taken me a while to sort of like navigate that, if that makes any sense, And I remember getting my first series where I did this show called Godivas in 2004, and I played this wonderful writer. His name is Michael McLennan. Created a show with a South Asian male lead, and I was so excited to get it, but I was just in complete like fight or flight mode, I think, in that whole time, because I was like, I can't, who am I? I felt like just felt like an imposter the whole time. Even though I had craft on my side, and I had trained, and but I just felt like a fraud. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that, because I'm sure there's many, I know I feel, Julian knows, this morning I felt a lot of pressure. I was like, all these people are going to be here. Everything needs to be perfect. And I'm just like running around. And but I think the culture and the way things have been set up, I feel they make us feel like that you have to work so hard to find your place, and when you do, like, it can be taken away, or there's so many other people who are just like ready to do your job.
Absolutely.
And thank you so much for your honesty, because that's the conversation with my friend yesterday evening. We talk about like the not belonging, or even attending an event like that. My friend, he was a fellow actor, he was anxious. I was like, dude, just like, your job is to hang by me.
Yeah.
You're here for my just come with me, because there's that thing of, am I worthy? Do I belong? And I think like the more I voice it, instead of keeping it just to myself, the more it releases the power it has over me.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I was more aware of the things that were going on. I just felt like I had to be something at that point, like be at that end result, instead of like, start from where I was. I think I would have enjoyed it more, which and so there's so much more pleasure I've found as I've, stuck around, and grateful for it. And I don't say this to say, oh my God, it's been so hard. It's not about that. It's just, it was very hard. And I feel like, and thankfully I had teachers who, said, this is going to be a hard ride, maybe extra hard because of the way you look. And that's what you kind of have to sign up for, and then know that, so I'm grateful for my training, because I could, even though there's stuff going on, I still have that craft in order to do the job. It's just more enjoyable now that you kind of like, as you get older, you start to understand yourself a little bit more, and you go, oh yeah, I guess it does make sense, and you can let yourself off the hook a little bit and not be so hard on myself, and go, yeah, I guess it does make sense. Not growing up and seeing myself reflected on screen, it would make sense that I have a little bit of imposter syndrome. And I remember being on the set of a film where I was surrounded by just people who looked like me, and we were all the leads, and it was just like this level of like, that was only a few years ago.
Donkey Head.
Donkey Head, yeah. Yes. And I remember sitting in the cast chairs going, is this how white people feel? It's just like, and I didn't say it like, I would think I got really kind of like jacked up. I was like, I was overwhelmed with like all kinds of emotions. And because there was a sense of like relaxation and belonging, and I have every right to be here because this is a story that, well, this is our story, you know? And I think if, you know, that was a transformative experience in that way. I'm so grateful for that.
Tell us more about Donkey Head. I again auditioned for a few of those parts. I haven't seen the film yet.
We have to cross paths. We have to get you in the game.
Yeah, I know. It's going to happen one of these days. I'm busy interviewing you guys and sharing your stories. And for me, I personally get a lot out of this as well. But I also love acting, and I did a little play last year, and just having like a live audience.
Great.
And it was about a Pakistani family, and you know, working with South Asian actors. Just
what play was that?
Dilka.
Okay.
It was in Burnaby at there were a few people who are also in the cast, like smaller roles in Allegiance, who came to see. They were like, "You were the girl," and I was like, I played the mom, and you know, being from Pakistan, it was, but the same feeling of. And I didn't realize the emotional journey I was going to go on, and the songs I was listening to. My mother has passed away, and it's like my grandmother, my nanny, and like all those, it's inside of me. And I didn't realize like the mannerisms and all the things I can access. And I decided to do an accent. Like I didn't have to, but I was like, it would just make sense. But to have an audience and to share this, it just felt so meaningful.
Right, because then it sounds like you can bring more of yourself forward, right? And then that you can use all this, I'll use you, you know, and it's relevant. And I felt in the past that I always had to sort of change myself to like fit in to whatever that is that's going on the screen, you know.
Did you also go through, because I think you can look like that, and I remember, you know, your days in Arctic Air, and like back then or even before, I remember earlier on thinking, okay, how can I make myself look more ethnically ambiguous?
Right.
How can I make it look like I'm from this background and that, and maybe I need to learn this accent or that accent versus just being.
Yeah, I mean that's all great. I mean, to be able to be a diverse actor who can do different things, but being able to, you know, you this is what we have, right? So, and the more that we can bring all of that forward and not have to apologize for, you know, parts of ourselves that we don't think fits, but so the fact that things are opening up in that way, I think is so great, and that we give ourselves permission to do that as well. So yeah, I'm always so envious of people who are just like, I'm so grateful, but like of envious of people who just like can just be like I still feel like the set can sometimes feel like a foreign place. I love this, like I love theater, like I feel more at home there, but like a TV set can feel very like
after all these years.
Oh yeah. Still, but it's good. You roll
but
with
it's good to know. It's good to know that you feel like that after all the experience you have.
Oh yeah.
Let's talk a bit about Donkey Head. I know Agam. I don't think I got to see her last night, or maybe perhaps she wasn't.
I don't think she was there.
Yeah, she was there. It received a lot of recognition. You know, to see. I saw some pictures and clips. I haven't seen the full film yet, the edited version. I know I've seen clips. I know, shame on me. But the feeling that you were describing of working with this beautiful, talented South Asian cast and to share those stories, like, tell us about that experience and working with Agam.
Well, working with Agam was a dream. I mean, it was her first time directing a feature film, and I'd never worked with her in that way before. She was the lead actress. She'd written it. She was starring in it. She was producing it. And she expressed being nervous about it, and expressed, you know, is it going to be, she's asking if it's going to be okay, if she's going to be coming in and out, like directing me, that the scenes that she's in. It was just one of the, like I said, it was a transformative experience and one of the most joyful experiences I've ever had as an actor. It was one of those ones that you really learn from. There was healing in it. I think there was something interesting going on. It was sort of like the perfect role at the perfect time and I think it really, I was able, the things that I was experiencing, like I told you in the cast chairs, going, is this how white people feel? But that sense of identity and bringing yourself forward, that was his journey in the movie too, and that's kind of what I was going through on behind the scenes. She had written a role, like this issue of identity and being, for me, I'm a very mixed background, and I've always been so curious about how to tell that story in an entertaining way on the page, and the way, and I think she told that better than I've ever been able to come up with, by creating this gay, sick man, Canadian man, with these dual identities kind of being pulled apart in these different directions. He's absolutely a proud, sick man. He's absolutely Canadian. It's a different picture he paints. He's absolutely a loving son, and he's also he's the apple of his father's eye, but he also is carrying the secret that he's gay, and it created a real opportunity for me to examine these questions of being all these different things to different people in different times and places, and like this code switching that I had to do growing up in order to fit in and all those things, and it made me go, okay, yeah, that makes sense that I would behave in this way, and got to understand myself a little bit more, I guess.
Yeah, I guess I never thought, like, your name's Stephen Lobo.
Yeah.
So what?
So Lobo is a Portuguese last name, but my dad was born. He's born in Tanzania.
Okay.
But his parents are from Goa.
Okay.
So half South Asian. And he was born Catholic, and moved to England where he met my mom. My mom is Iranian. Her father was a Persian Jew, and he married my grandmother, who was Islamic, and they converted to the Baha'i faith, and grew up. They were raised as Baha'is.
That's so beautiful, because you can practice all the faiths.
Yeah, it's all they're all in there.
We can do, Eid and Ramadan and Hanukkah and.
But what happened was
everything.
Nothing happened, actually.
Okay.
They all canceled each other out.
Okay.
So I didn't. And then my mom wanted me to fit in, so she gave me a Stephen Michael Lobo is my name, and and there wasn't for better or for worse, there wasn't much of really any culture in the home. I mean, I would get a sense of different things when I would go out to see cousins and meet cousins and extended relatives and things like that. But I guess again, I think that in hindsight and zooming out, I guess I go, oh, okay, that's what kind of built this actor who there is a bit of a blank slate in some sense, but with connections to these different places.
Over the span of your career, I feel like I've been in Canada for 24 years. I've seen, when it came from, I started out modeling, then hosting, acting, mostly hosting now, but our television change. Jobs I'm going out for, or things I'm auditioning or going to castings for change. And sometimes I wish I was like 20 now.
Yeah,
You know?
I know. Oh my God.
I'm like, can we just like go back in time, like now? How has that been for you, and what does that feel like? Because I'm sure, I mean, of course, you've found success much earlier on, but also the, you know, the kinds of roles you're going for now, and you know, you were in Continuum, you were all Van Helsing, like all these amazing shows. You're recognized, you know, you're in these shows, but I'm sure the stuff you're reading for, auditioning for, or booking is different than when you were 27.
Yeah, I mean, there wasn't a donkey head back then. There certainly wasn't allegiance back then. But again, like Godivas was a very special show ahead of its time that I'm very grateful for, and that put me, you know, to start my career. Really, I was maybe less than a year out of theater school when I booked a lead on a show. So I was very fortunate that I was able to go up for a variety of roles, and was able to latch on to like recurrings or series regular roles kind of right out of the gate. Were they written for, you know, someone with brown skin? No. Like, there was a negotiation of like, if I'm casting this part, I was like, okay, how do I sort of negotiate that? How do I fit myself into what's clearly written for a white person? You know, there's always that little bit of negotiation. Or if it's a brown part, is that a brown part? You know, like it's a, you know, and it's the, you know, it has to fit a certain, maybe there's an accent, or it's just it's a very straight and narrow thing about a marriage, or you know, a marriage gone wrong, or a disapproving father whose son wants to, you know, pursue a career in arts. You know, it was something like that back then. It wasn't, you know, what we're seeing now. It wasn't even like, but 20 years ago, Godiva's, that was on the page then too, but it only went a season and a half. You know, I think if that show was on now, I think it would probably it would be received much more differently. But it's amazing to see the changes that's happened. It's amazing, and I'm proud of myself. I can look back now and go, oh wow, I'm really proud of myself that I stayed the course, and I understand now. I wouldn't have those conversations with myself in the moment, because my job was to take what was on the page and make it work. But I can look back and go, okay, yeah, I get why that might have been extra hard for you, and I'm like, good on you for like sticking it through.
What do you think keeps someone going in the industry? What do you think has worked for you? Because I feel I interviewed you like say 10 years ago, and then sitting down with you now, and I feel quite a few people who I've gotten to know and interview over the years, I get to see them change, them evolve, like their journeys, having kids, getting married, all of that. And you know, I remember you in Arctic Air days, and I remember sitting there for the screening. The screening was at the Vogue. Oh my God. I remember I was wearing this like orange dress. What was I thinking? And it was just so great to also see your character. You were funny, you were vibrant, you brought this light and electricity. It was fun. Like
He was beautiful. I love that character.
I loved the scenes with you because you brought so much humor, so much like levity, and how the fact that you were also very smart. You know, I was like, this is great. We need more characters like this, and it just made me proud to see again a South Asian person on television, and of course like CBC from then to now, and seeing last night like Supinder on the poster and the show, it's just like, wow, this is a big moment for us. What do you think has been the element inside of you, like a state of being, or what has kept you going all these years?
Well, there's not really been any other choice, for one. But I'm finding more balance. Like I'll mixing up mediums, like doing plays, independent films, TV, finding my people, finding my tribe, so important. Especially in Vancouver, I think every now and then, when you go, what's the meaning behind what I'm doing? Why am I continuing to do this? Sticking it out, and then a gift of a role, some kind of experience comes along, and you go, this made it worth it. This little nugget of a few weeks or a few months, or this made those years of hardship worth it, because the growing I've done in this little period has been, incredible. And I guess I've had enough of those experiences to go, okay, yeah, this is a road worth traveling. Yeah.
There's like a lot of trust. I was having that conversation with Penny yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Your writer for
Penny Gummerson. I love Penny.
Episode 7, and I was speaking to her a couple of years ago.
Penny was one of the writers on Arctic Air, who one of my favorite writers on Arctic Air. She wrote so wonderfully for my character. She gave him so much heart and love and spirit, and I love her. Yeah.
And she was talking to me about trust a couple of years ago, and I got like a day job, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna be an adult, I'm gonna be adulting, and this is what you do at this age, and I've had my fun, and like with the lockdown and everything, and you're just questioning what's gonna happen. And what I was thinking last night after I came home from the event, from the premiere, was, for today, everything is okay. Mm-hmm. And you just keep doing your best. You keep showing up as the best version in that space, and the 100% is going to mean different. It's going to be different on different days, but that'll be the best that I can do. But I will be doing something, excuse me, Mom. I'll be doing something that makes my heart beat.
Yeah.
That makes my soul go like, yes, this is what I want to do. These are the conversations I want to share. These are the people I want to be around. And this is what aligns with me. And that requires a lot of trust, trusting in the universe, trusting in the timing, and leaning into that. And it challenges your own beliefs, because I didn't grow up like hearing that you could make a living as an artist, and doing what does your heart want? Like, what do you really want to do? What would you say to the 19-year-old Stephen today?
Breathe. It's all going to be okay. You're enough. You don't have to prove anything. You're enough. Take space. Yeah. You're gonna make me cry.
Well, when you said breathe,
like this is like a Barbara Walters.
It's like mixed with Inside the Actors Studio.
Yeah, right.
But everything you say, I feel like it's also, for me, like what you're saying, it's also, the breathing and taking space. Like I haven't heard someone say that before, like taking space.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a right to be here. We all deserve to be here. And, I just read a quote. One of my, a very meaningful teacher to me passed away this week. and I was reading some of the material she sent, and one of her teachers, I think it was this dancer, I can't remember her name, but talked about how, you know, we all have a light inside of us, and that's all unique to each of us. And if we you know, crowd that light and don't let it shine, we're holding that back from the world, right? We're not allowing the world to, that we're doing a disservice by doing that, you know. So, you know, and it's, for me, it's a journey. I just don't go, yeah, here I am. I'm not, I know I'm not built like that, but I think it's a value to do that. And so one of the things that keep me going, to your question, is like, I think I have once I'm given a character and a story and words on a page, I think I'm able, it's my way, I think, of sharing myself, you know, in that way. Yeah.
Is there a particular book, or I would say a book that you recommend to people? I feel like for me, one of those books is Letting Go, A Pathway to Surrender.
Oh, I don't know that.
I would highly recommend. I've listened to it many times. For me, it's a lot about like allowing things to happen, instead of, doesn't mean that you don't make something and go out and do the work. But in my life, like, one of the lessons has been, and part of that is breathing. Like, it's okay, because so many times I can be very in the go, versus stepping back and feeling and breathing what is actually happening. Can you allow this to sit in your body? You know, without getting too woo-woo, but it's like allowing my body to catch up with, okay, what is happening right now?
Being
Can you
here and now, right, in the moment, in your body.
Yeah. So is there a book that you really resonate with that you would recommend to friends?
I used to recommend a book called The War of Art to people.
Stephen Pressfield.
Yeah. I haven't in a while. You know, the thing that comes to mind, it's not a book, but it's something that I've heard other artists talk about, and it's another thing I probably would have told my younger self. My theater school mantra, one of them was, leave yourself alone, get out of your way, leave yourself alone, it's not about you. And one of the ways that translates to me now is to be of service to it. And that's a way of, like, instead of saying it's not get out of my way, it's like it sort of jumps over that, skips over that, and it's like, how can I be of service? So it's a different mindset that really works for me. My kids have taught me that. It's definitely not about me. It's about these kids, and the freedom and joy that I feel with the work now, where whatever's on that page, it's just like building a table. You know, it's like if someone gives me the blueprints for a table, or a script on a page, how can I be of service to that, and to my scene partner, to the story, to the character? And I just and I think that's really freed me up.
I wonder if you read some of my Post-it notes there, like literally.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I don't know, I'm curious.
No, I
didn't. Because
didn't.
I literally, that is something I put there to remind myself, because even when it comes to sharing my work, because a lot of the work that I do, it's, if people see me, they bring me on, you know, it's me promoting myself. I get into my head about...
Yeah, it's so easy to, right? It's so easy.
And part of that is, I need to share these conversations more. And yes, it's up on air, on broadcast and YouTube, but on social media, because there's so many jewels and gems that but I would before get in my head, well, that's too much. Like, you don't want to be too much, Zara. Don't like overshare. People are going to get tired of you. And I was like, no, no, no. That's actually ego and pride a little bit. I need to share the moments I'm having with the people. And it's okay for me. Forget about being too much. I'm also reading another book called, it's by Case Kenny, called That's Bold of You. And it talks a bit about the being too much. Like, where is that inner critic coming from? Which says that, hey, don't wear this or don't share that, but I really appreciate you sharing so much of your inner, because whether someone's an actor or a painter or a writer or any kind of artist or entrepreneur, we go through those ideas inside of our brains, because I think a lot of the journey is what's inside. And that's why someone who's had a career like yours, it's like you're playing the long game. It's not just like this show, and a lot of the battle is internal. So I love to ask people like what they do for self-care. Like, what things are you doing to fill up your cup?
Yeah, I found more and more that like routine, as much as I can, especially as I'm getting older, like really means a lot. So every time I take a shower, before I end it, it goes to cold for 2 minutes. Small thing, but helps so much. That's how I start my day. And if I don't have that cold shower now, like it used to be, it was a few years of, I know this is good for me, but I hate it. I hate it.
You need to come for a cold plunge with us.
I saw that you do that. I wanted to ask you about that.
Oh my God, come.
I saw on your Instagram.
Yeah. Micah, your makeup artist.
Yeah.
For your show. So
Maya.
It's like
Maya.
No, Micah.
Oh yes, yeah. Okay,
yes,
gotcha.
Yes. Him and like a few others, we go on a weekly basis. So I'll see if we're going this Friday or Saturday, and I'll invite you.
Okay, yeah. I did it last New Year's, but it was terrible. It's so terrible. It's awful. I don't know how I can do the cold showers, but you got to give me some tips about how to do the ocean plunge.
Oh my God. Okay.
You got to tell me, because I want to.
It helps to not think about it. We went one day when it was -12. There was snow on the beach, like no joke. And I was like, I can't even think about what I'm about to do. You just keep going, because you're there with the people, and you're there with a few people, and you're just like, I can't believe I'm about to do something so stupid. But afterwards, you just feel so naturally high. And for the days when I get anxious, it's just great for my anxiety to do that, because I feel my brain is like.
Yeah. Okay. I want to do it. I'll do it. I'm terrified, but I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it.
Great.
We're going to do it.
Great.
Oh boy.
Okay. Other than cold showers.
Yeah. Cold showers. Moving my body. Oh my God. The more I find ways to, different ways to move my body, the happier I am. And yeah,
like workout, yoga.
Workout, yoga. I just started a Qigong class online with wonderful actress who's teaching them online now.
The only time I've done Qigong before is in Paris in Butte Chaumont, and in the summertime, and I think I was like the youngest person there, and there were like 60 people in the morning, and it was an experience.
Oh, cool.
It was an experience, yeah.
Yeah, I like to mix it up. I like to do like the slow, more meditative, like Tai Chi, Qigong stuff, and then I swim twice a week. I taught myself how to swim a couple years ago.
I still don't know how to swim.
It's
I
used to just sink, but now I'm actually I got to the place where I'm like excited to do it now. There's so many things that I didn't know that you're supposed to do that I'm finding out. I asked the lifeguards, and like, yeah, you're supposed to like twist when you're. I'm like, you are? So yeah. What else? I always love my movies, and I do like I also have to know my limits. That's something that I think you learn with experience too. I can't compare myself, like what Sapinder's doing. I don't know if I could do that. She's just like, it's nonstop, wall to wall. And maybe if I keep, like, I used to run from interviews like this, but because they freak me out. But like now I'm doing this, I'm like, oh, this is lovely.
Yeah.
So, finding different ways to so start from where you are, but then maybe like tease that edge forward a little bit, and it's okay if I'm like here for this aspect of my life. But it's true, it's honest, right? I'm being honest with myself of where I am, and then more things I'm able to do more, So it's interesting that way. Whereas when I was younger, I was thinking like I have to be all these things in order to, and burn out, or your back goes out, or something like that. Just you are who you are, and you can't compare yourself to people who are, seemingly anyway, being able to do everything all the time.
And rest, it's like a real thing. And I was having a conversation with local actor because every time I was doing another show where I was interviewing 4 to 5 people on a weekly basis, like last year, but I'm so grateful for the opportunity. I did like 45 interviews, an hour each, an hour to 2 hours each, last year in 4 months, 45, like live. And then to do like 4 of them in a day, and then doing pre and post production, and then next week and next week and next week. And then you can't get sick, and then I'm trying to do some voice work, and I'm not really trained. It's something I need to work on. And you had to do screaming, and like I was playing these monsters, and then I barely have a voice, and I'm like, I'm gonna push myself through, and I'm sitting there, I'm like, I can barely get my. But over the holidays, once I started resting, first I felt guilt, and then afterwards I was like, I don't know how to get out of this rest mode because it just feels so comfortable because I have not been resting for so long.
So these big swings, right? I mean, that's it sometimes happens, but I guess the resilience that you build up, because that's the business sometimes. It takes you to those places, and sometimes you have to ride it.
Yeah.
But you know that you can't continue like that forever. And I find that in the downtime as well, I try and stay resilient, because I know when those times hit that at least I'll be prepared for it.
Have you had moments, I'm sure many of them, where you're on set, you're in your trailer, or coming out of your trailer, you're just about to roll, or it's just in the moment where you're shooting something, and you just have this moment of like, everything is okay in my world? Like when things for me are like, everything is where it's meant to be, the song that comes to my mind is Across the Universe, but the Fiona Apple version, where it's like, okay, I'll have to send it to you, but it's like, it's like everything is, wow, this is what I'm meant to be doing. So I would love to hear like some of those moments for you on those sets, and who you were working with, what show was that? Like that really, as soon as I ask that question, what is that moment that comes to you?
Oh boy, I think it's the moments between action and cut for me. It's not. I don't think it's the moments leading up to it. There's moments on stage. I can think.
But like a particular character you were playing, or a production, whether it's on stage or on a show. Or working opposite someone that you're just like,
I have to say, like, I did a play with John Cassini called The Cull last year, and it's my second play I've done with John, and I cherish that relationship as well. I'm just thinking now of some moments with Sapinder on this show, where I'm thinking in particular of, I think it's in episode 2 or 3, without giving too much away. We're separated by a barrier, and we can't contact each other. And there's a connection with her that I'm also I guess it's moments of connection. Those are the moments where connection through connection in a story sometimes, that I'm like, oh wow, I'm so grateful for this kind of, you lose time and I mean, I think that's probably a driving force for me as an actor too, is seeking out these moments of connection with people, and that relationship with Sapinder, and because it feels like because I say Sapinder because it is my relationship with Sapinder. That's a real connection in the moment. I mean, the camera cuts and then we're kind of back to ourselves, but what's happening is it's honest and it's real and it's in the moment and we're breathing together, right? We're sharing something, and that's like sacred. Like that's why I do it. Yeah.
And it really translates on camera, and especially when you get to see it on like the bigger screen versus my little MacBook.
Yeah.
I was like, oh wow, this is an experience.
Yeah.
And there was a shot of you, like the close up when you're talking on that stage, and then when the FBI, or not FBI, it's Canadian, but Secret Service and police come in, and there are a few moments there. I was like, wow, like this is a different Stephen Lobo I'm seeing. You know, I feel like I haven't seen you like that. I'm so sorry I missed the call. Horrible person.
Oh, don't worry about it.
Yeah, I think I was talking to a few friends about doing like so many transition from different jobs and stuff, but next play I am there. Other than Allegiance, anything else we need to look out for Stephen Lobo this year?
I did a movie with Minu Savari.
Ooh.
And Allison, oh my goodness, I can't remember her last name. Wonderful actor as well from Vancouver, called What Comes Next, by a wonderful local screenwriter and director, and very excited about that. I just auditioned for a play actually, and back to the grind.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing. I love it. You're probably going to get the play, so this time I will certainly be there.
All right.
I promise I will be there. I like to ask everyone this. We have this beautiful view here. What inspires you in life? And is there a particular spot in Vancouver or in BC that you go to get inspired?
Yeah, I don't want to say what my favorite spot is though, but I do have a favorite spot.
Okay.
And I'll go there either by myself or with the kids. And
can you give us general direction, like North Shore?
It's like
Okay.
it's like North Shore.
Okay.
It's a North Shore thing. Okay. Yeah. I love that spot. What inspires me? Yeah, I mean, conversations like this, movies, performances, my kids, unexpected stuff, being open and being curious to new things, new ideas. I think I'm inspired by, I love being around people who are much more intelligent than me. That's not a high bar by any means, but by thought, like people who are thinkers and learning and people who have different opinions and how they got to those opinions. I'm fascinated by that. Yeah.
I feel like that's why I'm doing the show.
Right.
I like to be around people who are leading lives that are different than mine, but I also respect and I'm inspired by, and hoping our viewers get inspired as well. Stephen, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you so much.
I can't believe it's been over an hour. Julian was like, Zara, cracking the whip over there. Yes.
Okay.
Really appreciate you taking the time to come here. And For all of you guys, make sure to watch Allegiance. Allegiance will be on this evening on CBC, and it's already up on CBC Gem. And watch out for Stephen Lobo over here, and watch out for his new film, What Comes Next?
What Comes Next?
With Mina Suwari. Wow, I haven't seen her in a while.
Yeah, she's great.
I'm excited to watch that film. I will be there. Until next time, I'm your host, Zara Durrani. Thank you so much for watching On Location, produced with the support of TELUS STORYHIVE. Thank you. Oh, this was great. Great energy. Like, so
Thank you.
so like, I can see the qigong and like, yeah.
Thank you. I get super nervous for these things, but you made it very comfortable and relaxed.
You bring such great energy.
Okay,
Yeah.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Awesome. Thanks,
We're
guys.
gonna do some photos if you don't mind.
Unlike you guys.
Yes.